Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Oh, I was talking some cash shit. So it may be better if y'all didn't hear what I was just saying. Maybe that worked out. Maybe that worked out. Let me see how. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to edit a lot of that out. Okay, that's cool. I know how to work that YouTube editor though, so it'll be all right. So anyway, let's jump right into it. So basically, I was celebrating my brother's birthday. My brother turned 30. Happy birthday for him. 30 is a very interesting year. I'm starting to get old because actually me and my brothers are all 5 years apart. So my brother's five, my youngest brother's 10. So he turned 25. He's the one that turns it first. Then he's actually a leap year kid. Anyway, so I let this go. Like I said, turn the page. I listened to Glendon today, and Glendon actually addressed a lot of things people, a lot of stuff, you know, but this ain't even about him. I get caught, and I'm not talking about y'all personally, but I'm talking about like a lot of people. There's people around the space that try to, I've seen some of the videos where it may not directly call me out, but it's only a couple of people that was really out here really. It ain't even about defending Glendon. It's more about, not, getting on the train and condemning them. And obviously, a lot of this took off with Anton. This is not about Anton personally. I actually appreciate they're going to have a conversation. I'll give respect for them to have a conversation. And y'all should definitely subscribe to the Lapeef Network. Even if you disagree with what they say, you can't say they don't generate a conversation. Um, Hold on, can y'all? Yeah, y'all can hear me. So I'll give them that. But because everybody wants to refer to the lead attorney. And everybody wants to make, everybody was so emotional. So now all of a sudden it's okay to have this conversation. Appreciate that, Kobe. Appreciate that, Mr. Hyde. Now it's okay to have this conversation. And this is a very short. This video was only like is only not even. This video is not old at all. By the way, it's only like it's only like maybe 2 or 3 hours old. So I said, you know what, we're gonna do a play-by-play. Now I've listened to enough of this video to be fair. It's not a sexual conversation. It's not what you think it is. It's more of a broad conversation. There's a little bit of sex involved, but it's more of a broad conversation about adults and age of consent. And what's interesting as to why I want to do this is Kevin actually did he made a comment like in the chat. So we're gonna go through this, and we're gonna go through this because people, and like I said, folks were pretty cool with me. Y'all were very cool with me. It's not about Anton having authority, but what we will say, what we have to, Anton is seen as the moral person. And like I said, this is not about Anton versus Glendon. I always said that this conversation is a worthwhile one to have, and then everybody wants to politicize it, over sexualize it, and sometimes it's just I can't have a conversation because if I have a conversation, it's gonna always be seen as defending somebody because of the context by which it was had, and I understand that. I absolutely understand that. That's people would not be wrong from drawing that conclusion. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through this play by play. I'll just wait for some of y'all to come up in here. And I was like, no, fuck that. You call me a liar, call me whatever. Shit, I didn't make this video, so we're gonna talk about it. And we're gonna see what gets said. I've listened to about 2 or 3 minutes of it. So it's about 6, 7 minutes more to go. But I want y'all to this is an opportunity to have this conversation. And again, I listened to enough of them. This is a broad conversation. And we're gonna see. We're gonna see what people say. So let's go. Hold on. Wrong video. Let's go.
Peace, let's talk. The biggest factors in establishing whether or not somebody is an adult, because if you do take that stance and you say, well, age isn't the determining factor, then you'd have to go all the way on the other side, right? You'd have to say, oh, okay, well then if you feel like you're mature enough, then you should be able to go and buy
And
alcohol.
by the way, people like do some shots at BGS as well. And you got to remember, BGS is like what 60 something years old, like what 62, 63, maybe like 64. I know he's older than Black Huru. And so, yeah, so this is also me throwing this out for him too. It's not about authority, Vince. Like I said before, it's really about people want to be the fucking virtue signal and the moral police. And really, I'm not even mad at Anton as much as some of the other people that's in our space decided to use that shit as a weapon, like they always do. They always like to take this football and throw it at other people. And I'm gonna keep it real. Anybody that's trying to label the black manosphere, especially if you're internal to the space, if you don't want to be in a space, just leave the space and just create your own shit and call it something else, and that's cool. But anybody that wants to label the entire space as like a whole bunch of deviants, you're talking to somebody that doesn't have children. You're talking to somebody that doesn't have tattoos. You're talking to somebody that doesn't smoke weed, don't really drink alcohol like that. Do we really want to play that game? Is that a game we really want to play? Because my thing is, there is people, folks. Let's just say everybody got a lot of people got some stuff. If you really want to dig deep enough, you can find. Maybe it's beating a woman's ass. People don't want to play this like I'm the moral police bullshit. They really don't. Because I'm gonna tell you, I'm pretty clean. The only thing you're gonna find about me is parking tickets and seatbelt tickets. And then I said, fuck it, I'm not paying my tickets. And I've already fixed all that. But anyway, let's go. Let's go.
Alcohol. You should be able to go in certain spaces, right? You can't have it both ways. Either you got to be one way or alcohol. You should be able to go in certain spaces. And you say, well, age isn't the determining factor, then you'd have to go all the way on the other side, right? You'd have to say, oh, okay, well, then if you feel like you're mature enough, then you should be able to go and buy alcohol. You should be able to go in certain spaces, right? You can't have it both ways. Either you got to be one way all the way as far as establishing the rules and the standards one way, or you got to be all the way the other way and accept.
Actually, you don't. No, you don't. That's not how the world actually works in the real world. That's not how the world really works.
It on both sides.
It's just like when people talk about you either got to have all capitalism or communism. No, you don't. China doesn't have that, and America doesn't have that.
We can't let teenagers have sex with grown men at certain ages. Whereas if you're 21 years old, you can have sex with whoever you want to that's above, a certain age. But, ethically, morally, we set standards based off of past experiences, and past experiences taught us that you need to be a certain age and be able to.
That's actually not true. A lot of this stuff is not really set based. That's the one thing that people remember. The same people that establish. See, this is where morale. See, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't like talking morality with black people. I just don't, because black people are in a very emotional group, and practicality will be thrown away very easily. And one of the things you have to understand about ADOS blacks is we are a client race, meaning everything does not rise and fall with us. Like, for example, and this is something you just got to say about the diaspora, everybody else. A lot of the diaspora blacks outside of Europe, it's either going to work with them or it's not going to work with them, but it's on them. It ain't like, okay, well, we contributed, and we contributed a hell of a lot to this country, more than most. Let me be very clear about that. But at the end of the day, it ain't something, well, we stop, everything falls. It's not like that. So there's a lot of convenience that we can just charge shit. We can just charge shit out of practicality that like other people can't necessarily do in other countries. But let's go.
Able to make certain decisions, largely, overwhelmingly. You're always going to have an anomaly here or there. But basically, to set the foundation, you absolutely age establishes whether or not you're an adult.
Right. And I think,
and I don't disagree. I don't really disagree with that. I mean, because how else are you really going to determine it? Age has to be a determining factor. But see, where the issue becomes is, and take sex out of it. You can be drafted at 18. You can, like, we're not even talking about sex right now. I want to make you this clear. This conversation is not about sex. Me personally, I believe the age of consent should be 18 across the board. If it can be 18 in California, which has 40 million people, 18 in Florida is one of our largest states. It can be 18 everywhere else. That's what I think. There should be a national law establishing it's 18, the end, no exceptions, no exceptions. That's my personal position on it. That's my personal position on it. I don't know. That should be a national conversation, in my opinion. Like that should be a federal conversation. Um, that's me. So I want to be clear about that. So this is not relitigating that, but I'm curious as to what else they're going to talk about because this is not really what they're talking about. The sex part is not what they're talking about.
It's culturally based. Because if you and I were to take a trip to Africa, if we would go to Nigeria, if we go to Ghana, if we go to anywhere in the diaspora or whatever, right? We would see young men being charged with and being groomed to lead households at a relatively young age. It's only when we get into the Western culture that we begin to push back on that. And, people can debate whether it's right, wrong, indifferent, or whatever, but only in the Western culture is it understood that, you're not a man until you're 21 and your brain doesn't fully develop until you're 25.
Yeah. So this is
Okay, so one thing I've talked about outside of this conversation, at least with us as a people, is we have people that they are very different emotional ages. Like I said, I'm talking about 18 and up. Okay. You have people, we have an emotional immaturity problem. People's physical age may be a certain age, but they are emotionally stunted. And that has nothing to do with grooming. It has everything to do, because let's be clear here. You're being groomed by the society. There was a time that homosexuality was a no fucking go, and you were considered insane in that book, the something statistical manual that David Carroll always talks about, and they took it out. You're being groomed to accept it. So when people use terminology like grooming and stuff, even when you look at how people are socialized, you got to remember you're in a Prussian school system, which is a grooming system. It's a system designed to pop you out and to have a certain mentality. Even when you look at history and stuff, it's not just you being functional. It's about you having a certain mindset. This is why BGS always says everybody has a little white supremacist in them because they're socialized to be white. He also says millennials and going forward, he'd say Xers going forward, but probably more millennials are socialized to be feminists. So there's certain things that is our baseline that is not other groups' baseline. And you have to consciously think outside of that in order to really know that. Because if you just go off a default, then you're going to default to what you were conditioned to be defaulted to. And there's certain, and that's really where the stuff rubs the road. Now, I gotten it far enough in this video to know the pushback that Courtney's going to have is pay attention to her pushback, and then I'm gonna talk about it in a second. Trell. Let's keep it all the way 100. You're in the Jewish tradition. You're a man at 13. That's what a bar mitzvah is for. But being a man and leading are two completely different things. Those are two completely different things.
I'm asking because regardless of culture and where we deem you as legal or non-legal, but I would assume that our brain development is, the cerebral cortex in the heart, in the head says it doesn't develop until you are 25. So
the brain shit, I'm just going to keep this all the way 100. The brain shit is something that is used as a way for people to push certain agendas. Let's keep it real. If that's true, I mean, how many times do they charge black men as adults? They do that relatively easy if the crime is severe enough. These are the same Western people that's talked about fucking influenza, which is influence. You having a mental thing about not understanding what you do because you come from a certain class, so you just are not, you're so not held accountable that you don't even understand what right and wrong is. But you ain't never seen a black person be able to use that. Again, in Western culture, even though you could argue Western culture has advanced science and stuff, there's always there's always politics behind that. always, and you have to always consider that. Now, some people will say, well, I'm just using that as a way to nullify or neutralize anything that I don't agree with. Not necessarily, because the science and stuff gives you a baseline, but you also have to look at, okay, what are some of the motivations behind this, and you compare it against what it was and why. So, of course, feminists, women that are feminist minded are always going to want to age the shit up, because notice how a lot of the women that are feminist minded have no problem. Women groom the children more than any other group outside of like what the government does. Now, notice that women tend to not have the same kind of energy for them grooming boys and college boys. Notice that women don't take the same kind of accountability for the rising number of black males that can't read at grade level, even though their education is what it is. Women want control of the grooming process. So they're always going to frame grooming somebody as some male patriarchal bad thing, when in actuality, grooming it's conditioning. It happens all the time, no matter what. A lot of the reason why you, like, for instance, if you understand the tender years doctrine, you understood in the early 70s, before they changed it, the kids were under the purview of the man, not the women, the man. That changed. So everybody in my age group and a little, maybe 10 years older, they only know the woman having control. So when you talk about giving, I talked about this on Shannon, when you talk about giving kids to the man, it's all this, even, and this is something that's not gender neutral. The men are like, I can't believe that in the first, but see, in every other culture, that's how it works. So you can't say that the black community is backwards, but then push back on the very things that actually make it backwards. That's the thing. And that's why when people talk about like nothing changes, nothing changes. And this is why people don't take motherfuckers seriously a lot of times. Well, Courtney doesn't say the most wildest shit. I wouldn't go that far to say she says wild shit. I wouldn't go that far. But what I would say is a lot of these women, this is going back to where Kay was talking about, I'm not a feminist. Technically, most people are. Most people are, I would argue, 2.0 feminists at their baseline, because that's what you've been socialized to be. And I'd argue a great percentage of that are 3.0 feminists. Even the men, I would say, are 2.0 feminists. And so when you hear like women, oh, I'm not a feminist, but if I ask you, and then I ask you, okay, give me an example of an actual feminist. I don't know. I don't care. That's white women shit. Get the fuck out of here. Black women vote for the Democratic Party at 95%. Don't fucking tell me that most black women are not feminists, or not feminist minded, or identify with feminist ideology. Are you fucking kidding me? You're a fucking teacher. Don't play with me like you don't understand that shit. Don't try to pro-black your way out of that shit. But watch what she says.
Does that development, because that all,
This commercial has been introduced. I actually got HostGator. Let me rewind it so y'all can hear it.
No, you're not a man until you're 21, and your brain doesn't fully.
Hold on. Shout out to for the 99 cent. My bad. I ain't mean. Shout out to John Doe for the 99 cent. And shout out to Blackfoot for the $5 super chat. Shout out to John Doe for the 99 super sticker, and Blackfoot for the super chat. Always appreciate it.
Develop until you're 25.
Yeah. So this is what I'm asking, because regardless of culture and where we deem you as legal or non-legal, but I would assume that our brain development is, the cerebral cortex and hearts, in the
Kay is the one talking about she's not. I'm not saying these are card-carrying hardcore feminists, but black women by default are more feminine, got more feminist ideology than even white women to a certain extent, to be honest with you. Because so yeah, but I will talk about Kay with that. But Courtney did grow up with white people. You're right.
It says it doesn't develop until you are 25. So does that development, because that,
if anybody's having problem with my audio, press 1.
All, the frontal lobe, determines understanding reason and being able to understand right and wrong, and understanding,
decision making.
Decision make correct. So would that not be a part of being an adult?
No, absolutely. And again, what I'm saying is,
Yeah, sorry, I kind of lost it. Hold on 1 second. And she's saying, wouldn't that be an adult? That you notice how? Go ahead. All right. Okay.
this makes sense. In indigenous cultures, young men, I'm not speaking to young women or about young women. I have no information or no insight regarding that. I'm just saying what I understand about young men. In indigenous cultures, they're indoctrinated and groomed to assume.
Notice he had to fall back on the woman piece. See, because that's too hot.
Responsibility at a much younger age.
I think that the thing that bridges what you and Courtney are saying, because I understand both of you fully, is that if you go like to Chicago, what you're talking about, certain other cultures, there's an entire familial network. Whereas in the United States and, other places, there's a lot of individualism. So like, I get what,
I mean, but even in Europe, like the rules are a little bit different. Europe, like only America, do you have to be like, America is one of the very, 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 very few countries where you have to be 21 years old in order to drink. Very few countries. Canada's not like nobody. No. Pretty much, you'd be hard pressed to find another country that's like that unless it's a dry country, like in the Middle East. That's not brain development. That's political. That's all that is. And that has to do with cars and shit like that. Because we have more cars than other groups as far as transportation. But that's political. That's and a lot politics occupy it's not moral, it's political.
what Courtney's saying, because you're out on your own, you should be older because you don't have necessarily as much counsel around you. Whereas if you are maybe from somewhere else where family is big, like I know, in Nigeria.
This is bitch speak. That's all this is. Because the reality is, and I hate to say it this way, because the reason why these familial networks don't exist in America, in the Black community, because they used to exist. They didn't exist that big in the North, but in the South they exist, and they still do. The reason they don't exist is because women don't want to be held accountable to shit. That's really what it is. And Crimson Cure talks about that, how women don't want to be accountable to nothing. She did a video about that. Women do not, they want, she did something about, it was a video she did recently about being for the streets. And she was talking about how, like, women, they want a network that validates what they do, even if it's dysfunctional. They don't want a familiar network, because a familiar network is going to hold you accountable. And I'm talking about the women. They're going to hold you accountable, and they don't want that. So in the Black community, that was destroyed. And so this idea, it's like we try to talk about shit without understanding the history of why stuff is where it is. And these things are very convenient in the moment of a conversation. But if you're really serious about solving a problem, you have to be able to bring full context into everything that you say. Unless you don't know shit or you're purposely being disingenuous.
Area is, at least where my family's from, it's a big thing. Like you still live right near your family. Y'all live in the same like compound. So yeah, you might be considered an adult at a younger age, but therethere's so many people around you that you won't necessarily be, making certain.
This is just a way to try to make America right. This is a way of making America right. This is, and Kevin's gonna put a post on here. And like I said, this is actually a different conversation. So don't apply this to anything else. Apply it to the conversation that's being had. But that brain, man, you can be drafted at 18. Charles said you can join the military, I think at 17. Like if you graduate something where there's a condition, but you can join. Jordan is 17. So that brain development shit is something that's convenient. That's something that people use very artificially. And I know they got that from other people, but I'm talking about the people that even say that. That's used when they want to fucking use it. You notice black men have never been able to get out of any kind of trouble because our brains haven't developed enough.
Certain choices. Whereas in this country, if you're just out in the world at 15,
shout out to Theo Woff. He says feminism equals mental disease. Ha ha ha.
or 18 even, or even 21 or whatever, without a certain level of development, it could pose some issues.
If I can add,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I can add.
And I just want to say, yeah, you all are right. And see, this is the converse. Like, again, I get that other topic, but if we're gonna have a totality conversation, there's a reason these laws are all over the place when it comes to this shit. You know, again, sex is political. That's really what that is. That is something that women want absolute control over with that. And you see what they do with it when it comes to abortion and all that other shit. It's really about control. That's really what this is about. And so when you look at how these laws are and how they're all over the place on everything, on guns. So I can get a gun before I can buy a drink. You see what I'm saying? Or I learned how to drive. Like, I literally got my provisionary license at 14 and a half. So you got people that can make life and death decisions in cars. They can drive on their own in a car. Men and women. Or boys and girls, whatever you want to call it. You see what I'm saying? This shit, like, and then this shit had, you know, and they want to say, well, it's more, this has nothing to do with none of that. And that's what really BGS was trying to say that nobody really wanted to hear, you know? Exactly. You're absolutely right. So my thing is not denying what people's opinions are and their legitimacy of their opinions. It's just the overwhelming blindness of certain shit. Like, really questioning everything and why it's there, including why is 18 not the universal age of consent in America? Like, what the fuck? You know? Now, when I think about it, I understand, okay, white people don't have as many productive sexual reproductive years as black people do. Not like white people. We're not talking about white Latins or people that classify as well. We're talking about white people. They don't. Because you understand the reproductive issues, some of it, like a lot of greater percentage of them can have. And so when you understand all of that, then it starts to make more sense as to why they are artificially created these laws this way and have not updated them, or they're not trying to keep on updating them, because if they update them, then they got to be subject to them. They can only get away with it so much. Yeah, Gil, I gotta watch that, because that Discord is like, I gotta get a new Discord link.
Still, I definitely agree with what everyone is saying. I think this is one of those questions that's definitely left up to so many different interpretations. But to feed off of what you are saying, Kate, I definitely do feel like it's relative, because there are people, especially in like other countries,
just like morals are relative.
Go to like Caribbean countries like Jamaica and stuff like that.
Oh shit! Now we're gonna get into the diaspora.
I mean, they've been doing their own thing for maybe since they were 7 years old, you know, and especially when you have a lot of family members that like migrate to the US or migrate to the UK, you have these, you know, what we would consider.
Well, is it
through my online store alone, we've sold over.
If it's about morals, then that doesn't matter, right? Because all morals are universal. Everybody was trying to come in my ass about that shit, right? Right? Yes, you would.
You know, where we live, children who have like full literal lives, like, you know, at like 15, 16, they have like children, they know how to raise a family, like They can sit down and
Okay, so I'm not here. Like I said, the overall, I'm dead, and I'm dead ass. I'm not saying that to cover my ass. Like straight up, in the United States, I don't understand why it's different laws for different states. The states shouldn't be able to make those laws. I don't believe this. A topic as hot as the age of consent for sex, that should not be left up to states to artificially do. Because the reality is, we are one country or one nation. People are moving. That needs to be set, and then you have certain groups that'll probably be parked in certain states in order to kind of culturally, no, that needs to be assimilated. So I believe it should be 18 across the board, no questions asked. That solves the problem. But there's a reason why that's purposely not brought up or that's suppressed. That's not me that did that, obviously. But hold on, because I like lost my thought.
and really have a conversation.
Oh yeah, she was talking about, I don't like when people use these words like children and shit like that. A 15 and 16-year-old to me is not like, and I want to make this clear. The age of consent is should be 18. But I'm not going to call a 16-year-old a child. Okay? That's not a child. Children are not supposed to watch children. So you would trust a 16-year-old if they show they're trustworthy to watch 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, even 13-year-olds, babysitters. So black people have a tendency to make everything the same thing to fit their own emotional disposition. And we got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing it. There's people I know that they call a 21-year-old a child. That's that bullshit with your teens and in your tweens. But let's keep going.
With a 30-year-old, and you can't tell the two apart. So I definitely think that it's definitely relative to location for sure. And culture. Yeah.
Well then, but this culture, but America's culture is not see that is what BGS was trying to fucking say. That's what BGS was trying to tell Jessica. You know? It's relative. And see, what kills me about this shit is a lot of these people are mixed with actual Africans, like from other countries. So that means they know how these countries get down. So when people, I really don't like when people use moral morality as a weapon. I don't, because that kind of proves you can't really hit your argument. There's other ways to attack your argument.
I want to get to Anton. Anton does age determine adulthood.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no other way to really blanketly determine it. But the problem with America is age, quite frankly, let's keep this all very real. If you take sex out of a situation, for the most part, y'all are not really gonna give a shit what America says an age for something is. You see it with the trans shit. You see it like apparently Dwayne Wade's son is able to determine if he wants to be a boy or a girl or not. So outside of women and sex, this shit can be really artificial. It's just a matter of whoever, and morals don't have nothing to do with it. And granted, the people that were bringing morals to me would not agree with that, obviously, and I'll give them that. But my point is, I'm talking about as a greater society. But
absolutely does. Every single person that just answered this question is completely wrong. 1,000% wrong. And ironically enough, I think people are trying to substitute maturity with being an adult, and it's a difference, right? Really, what we're trying to say, or what we should be saying, is that being an adult does not absolve you from responsibility. That's the difference, right? We all say that we know this guy and he's 40 years old and he still acts like a little child. Doesn't mean that he's not an adult. Doesn't mean that he does not participate in doing adult things. It doesn't mean that he can't go and drive a 3,000-pound missile.
Well, we need to have an honest conversation about maturity and what affects that. Because you got a lot of black folks running around here that act like kids that are 40 years old. And I'm not talking about man children, because the thing about men is men are going to be held accountable. Black men are the most held accountable group in the United States of America. So you don't have to worry about what a black man does or doesn't do, because if he doesn't do what the fuck he's supposed to do, he will be punished. There are plenty of mechanisms and very few protections against that. Other groups like women, for example, black women, they're allowed to have chaos. They're allowed to do a lot of shit and get passes. Even if they legally don't get it, they morally get it. You could kill a black woman, can kill a child, and you'll have a nigga talking about, but she was a great mom though. Be it a boy or a girl. Women can, your kids can't fucking read, but you don't deal with the totality of that consequence, but you get to take all the benefits of if your kid is successful.
Down the street without anybody telling him that he can't doesn't mean that he can't go and buy alcohol at the store. Like, it doesn't absolve you from the responsibility. And so I think that people are conflating the two instead of being able to separate it. Now, another point that people are making is comparing Western culture to other countries and other cultures. I've only lived here, right? I've visited a lot of places, but I abide.
You said forcing sex on kids. So Matt Drama Bear, do you, nobody, okay. This is the problem with shit like that. I personally believe that one of the problems that we have with this one of the problems that needs to be had is there's got to be a consequence, and there used to be. See, back in the day, if you came up pregnant at a young age, there was a consequence to that. You were shipped off somewhere. You didn't get to finish high school in the same school. There was consequences to this shit. And now we have this thing where people grow up in social media, hot girl summer. You got women telling other women that it's healthy to have a hoe phase. And you see young kids absorbing this information via the media, Lil Nas X, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, via social media, where it's reinforced. And let me be very clear here too. Their social media has probably been outside of the government. I would argue social media is more involved with grooming kids than the parents. This is why companies like Apple come up with things like screen time and so much stuff to give parents the ability to monitor children to the site. This is why China has said that you can only be on certain social media or games for only a couple of hours, because this stuff changes your brain. But see, nobody will talk about that because, you know, there's too much money. And so my thing is not to say that somebody is wrong. It's just to say you're looking at one thing when you need to be looking at more than that, because they'll have you pay attention to one thing in order to program your kids, and you don't pay attention to it. It's a redirect. And America's really good about redirects.
By the standards that we set here, right? And so I don't look at previous generations as far as evaluating or establishing how it is that I'm going to place somebody in an adult space, right? And often at times people use that as an excuse in order to not be responsible for the ways in which they act and operate, especially, you know, guys that want to still live in their mother's basement, as somebody that illustrated, right? But the point that I'm making is that it takes 21 years to be 21 years old, and it's the reason why they established that as the foundation or the basis by which you can do certain things, and you can get in certain places, and so on and so
All
forth.
of that is political. That has nothing. See, no. See, and that's where Anton has it wrong. Anton thinks it's just like, oh no, that's all political. That's all political. They can change that anytime they want. Like, you know, they can change. Like, why do you think you can't? Okay, so you can't. So you can smoke at 18. Hell, you see it with marijuana today, where they just, marijuana was illegal, now it's legal. No, well, I'm not even doing that. I mean,
So
because
forth,
I
right?
appreciate them going into it.
You can't even get in the casino unless you're 21 years old. And so Courtney kind of hit on it a little bit when she said that the maturity or the development of your brain, right?
It has that's something, like, again, that's something they use, but that's not, because my thing is, so you can give a kid, so how the fuck can you say you can't go into a casino at 21 until you're 21, but I can give this kid a gun, tell him to go shoot the motherfucker I tell him to shoot, and then think he's supposed to come the fuck back okay? That's what I don't fucking understand. And you can be drafted into that shit today. So we can, it's not based on that. And see, that's another thing, considering they try to say, don't they say women develop before men do as far as age? So as far as so by definition, aren't women same age, law averages, supposed to be more mature? See, that's the game that folks play. That's the game that folks play. And people, and so when everybody want to say, well, the shit is there morality wise, well, and people use the past, the recent past, in order to show you biology really has not changed. The only thing that's changed is the social shit and the other shit. And here's the thing, as far as where I will bring up to what you call talk about with sex. Your children are already being fucking programmed. One random nigga on YouTube ain't what the fuck you need to be worried about. What you need to be worried about, hell, I would argue that Superman, like, fuck the gay shit. Your kid, these schools, it's a lot of things that's programming your kids. We've had 10 years of this social media smartphone shit now, and you see what it's produced. And people will focus so much on one thing, and they'll be absent to everything else because they want to look like they're doing something. Anyway, I'm gonna drop the link for anybody who want to join a conversation real quick before I wrap it up.
More or less is around 25 years old, right? So the point that I'm just making is that I do believe that age absolutely is one of the biggest factors in establishing whether or not somebody is an adult. Because if you do take that stance and you say, well, age isn't the determinant.
Now, Kevin said that, Kevin puts it in the chat of the video, that he said, Kevin saying was, we allow this arrested development only to justify an attempt to re-engineer human development. Google and the internet doesn't change human biology.
Determinant factor, then you'd have to go all the way on the other side, right? You'd have to say, oh, okay, well, then if you feel like you're mature enough, then you should be able to go and buy alcohol. You should be able to go in certain spaces, right? You can't have it both ways. Either you got to be one way, all the way as far as establishing the rules and the standards one way, or you got to be all the way the other way and accept it on both sides.
That's not how the real world works. That's not how the real world works, Anton. That's not how the real world works.
You can't let teenagers have sex with grown men at certain ages, whereas if you're 21 years old, you can have sex with whoever you want.
Well, technically, if you're 18 years old, you universal in the United States, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter. There is no place in the United States where you can't. So when you say teenagers, 18 to 19 is a teen. So, I mean,
that's above, a certain age. But, ethically, morally, we set standards based off of past experiences, and past experiences taught us that you need to be a certain
age. You set standards based on what these white people tell you to do. The same white people that lock black people up for crack are the same white people that allow open air drug places in cities like Philadelphia because their people on but see, this is a guy that doesn't believe in racism. So he doesn't believe in the contradiction of those things. He doesn't believe that. He doesn't understand that there's people that are in jail for marijuana, that sold marijuana, dealt with marijuana today, that white people are making money off of, or yesterday that white people are making money off of today. See, that's a concept that doesn't really click.
And be able to make certain decisions.
All right. And Kevin also said in that thing, he was talking about delayed adulthood. And that's another thing. Black people have a big problem with delayed adulthood. This is why you got people that really are talking about women should not have kids until they're 30 years old, because they want to have their fucking careers and shit like that. And crazy shit like that. I also talk about morality. There are more black men in prison in the United States of America than women in prison on the planet. again, yeah. So I mean, when people are so strong on certain things, it's like, do you like, you know, with the virtue signaling, let's go through some of the comments. Somebody put, it wasn't until 1950 that high school became a regular thing. That's that Prussian school system. In America, for almost every job outside of STEM, an eighth grade education was sufficient to go into the workforce. On the job training was supposed to cover the rest. I say this because most women only got to the eighth grade, then they were considered adults. That is why in 36 states, the age of consent is 16. Why does any of that matter? Only when women flooded the workforce in college did we have to question how old was old enough. Women had no life experience and found trouble everywhere they went. That's from Confusion. That's actually a great point. That was a great point. Now, none of this, let me be very clear here. None of this is an attempt to justify Glendon Cameron. You all can have your opinions about him. People are still leaving comments. People are still talking shit. That's on him to deal with it. And am I going to throw Glendon under the bus? No, but I acknowledge you all's opinions. So I want y'all to understand this is not that. But Anton didn't have to make a video on the Lapid Network having a greater conversation about this. And that is a conversation that needs to be had, because Black people in particular, they have this thing. We have a lot of grown kids out here. And when I say grown kids, I'm talking about people that are, 30 and up, that are having dumbass decisions. This is one of the reasons why we have a lot of the problems that we have. Who else? Barry McConnell says, all I'm going to say is that we're living in a time where social justice warriors are fighting for every person's rights. When the left are allowing children to choose their gender at a young age, don't be surprised when they start arguing that they can also choose who they love at a young age. That's a great point. That's a great point. And you got people that are literally voting for the same party that's actually promoting this. And then they talk about, well, that's not the whole Democrat. That's not my version of the Democratic Party. Now, granted, I'm a Democrat, but I vote local. I'm in the South. Shit like that ain't flying. And trust me, the representatives that's in my region, the representative that represents my district, and the senators that represent my state are not for that at all. So Terrence Johnson, when the general question comes up, it really only applies specifically to sexual relationships. Absolutely. Like, nobody has this conversation outside of that, because the reality is that's where all the emotion really comes from. Theoretically, a teen can be charged as an adult with capital crimes. To be honest, it's common for chronologically over 30-year-olds to be adolescents in adult bodies. They're talking about mental. What does biology say regarding adulthood? Well, the reality is, Black people can't have that conversation about what does biology say. So I don't even like to have that, because then they're just going to try to override that with morality. As far as the adult situation, the adult body but have a young mind, that's social engineering. That's what that is. And Black people have really suffered the most from that. That's all that is. Social engineering. That has nothing to do with biology. That's social engineering. And you don't really understand how fucked up American culture is until you've actually left American culture. And I'm not a hater of America. I mean, trust me, I'd rather be here, but you don't know the difference unless you've actually seen the difference. High Frequency Vibe says, we got pro fighters 17 years old fighting grown men. Mike Tyson was the champion 19 years old. It's what you groom them for. My grandfather left home at 15. They mature faster because they were groomed that way. My grandfather was married for 10 years by 30. And in most states, once a woman has a child, she's considered an adult. I don't know if that's true. Each state has its own law statutes on age of consent for sex. That's what Henry puts. High Frequency Vibes also say Jews, the males start at 13. At one point, we do too. Seem like they winning. The prolonged childhood is annoying. You got a whole grown people in their 20s talking about I'm only 23, what the fuck, you're grown. Absolutely. And that's that tween shit. That doesn't really have to do with black people. So that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. And I think people, yeah. Anyway, so I don't know if any of you all want to come up. Shout out to Theo for the $50 super chat. I greatly appreciate that. I don't know if any of you all have dropped cash apps. Let me see if you have. And shout out to the Lapeep Network for dropping that. You knew I was gonna fucking cover it. All right, still much appreciated. So yeah. So anyway, y'all know where it is on the Lapeep network. And like I said, this is just one clip. I would invite you all to watch the entire context of the conversation. A little bit before, a little bit after. And again, I say this again, this is not to defend anybody. Y'all have a right to y'all's opinions. This is just me covering it. This is probably like what they call it, postscript. We'll call this a postscript. Appreciate that, JC, for the $2 super chats. They said I'm scared to debate Anton. I'm not scared to debate Anton. But I'm not debating Anton on this. But it doesn't matter what the fuck they say. It doesn't matter what the fuck they say. What am I gonna debate? Like, what am I gonna debate? Morality. That's what people want me to debate. Most of these motherfuckers are scared to, and I'm not talking about Anton, but a lot of these motherfuckers are scared to debate me. That's why they always like to pull up on me and ambush me. Well, Pastor, you can be uneasy all you fucking want. Understand something, Pastor. You know, the America culture doesn't need your permission to do shit. You know, you see people are, I mean, you got women going on slut walks. You got motherfuckers actively trying to change genders. I mean, y'all really act like you got the keys to where America decides to go. You don't. And y'all are just going to go along with the ride. So I mean, people can be easy all they fucking want to be. Like I already told you, what I thought. The age should be 18 across the board. That's what the age should be. It ain't, dude. First of all, I'm not like. Let's be clear here. I don't come on this motherfucker to prove how smart I am or that I'm smarter than other people. That is not why I'm on here. I'm on here to have an actual conversation and generally go where a lot of folks don't want to go. That's why I'm here. That's my mandate. Not my mandate, my edict. My edict is not to get on this bitch and try to prove I'm smarter than somebody. I don't give a shit. Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to change anybody's minds. And quite frankly, a debate shouldn't even change yours. Like, because the thing about it is, the only purpose a debate that I find value in a debate is basically getting to the bottom of some shit. That's it. I don't have a debate to prove, oh, I'm right and I'm smarter. You know, you got people that they like to be, oh, I can debate you that 1 + 1 is 2 and prove to you that it's 3. Oh, you may be that smart. That doesn't change on what it is, though. It doesn't. No matter, you know, and you have people, and people have different agendas. Some people have an agenda to grow a YouTube channel. Some people have different agendas. So, yeah. So I don't get on here, you know, I said I don't get on here like, oh man, I want to prove I'm smarter than somebody. Y'all saw it when I had a conversation with Courtney. I wasn't trying to prove her right. I was basically probing to see if she was really talking, spitting game, but she was really sincere. And we were going where she took the conversation. She wanted to say we're loyal. I said, give me an example. She was bailed out. And when I say give me an example, I'm saying enlighten me. Maybe I don't know. Hell, y'all saw, if y'all saw the video with Shannon, you saw the conversation that I had. We had a y'all heard me talk about stuff y'all typically don't hear me talk about. You know? I acknowledge their points. I acknowledge the validity of their points to when they were valid, and for the most part they were. And then I brought context to it based on the experience that I had. Just like they had experience, I'm bringing it to, and she did the same thing. I'm not here. So it is what it is. But I don't come here, you know, people, oh man, I gotta prove that nigga wrong. Congratulations. Okay. You're not like, I know why I come to the conclusions I come to. Well, the thing about it is, the thing, you can disagree with me and I can disagree with you, but what my thing is, when people are in here trying to sell the shit, like, you know, a lot of the passport bros are talking about Kevin Samuels saying that, you know, talking about passport bros, and then you hear O'Shea from time to time. Every time O'Shea does an interracial video, he has to angle it. And I get it, that's what he's gonna do. And quite frankly, that makes him money. And so when your alignments, when your beliefs are in line with your money, I mean, you can't tell a nigga shit. So I get why he says that. What a morality is you can't, like, the morality argument depends on the morals of the people, the crowd that you're in front of debating. Like, to Muslim, like, you know, to Muslims, you're an immoral person if you eat pig, if you eat pork. A lot of black people eat pork. To Muslims, you're an immoral person if you drink alcohol. So, and niggas drink alcohol. So I mean, you know, and but to Muslims, the age of consent is, the mentality on that is completely different. You see that? The mentality on the age of consent with most people in the Middle East is completely different than how African Americans see it, because African Americans were socialized in America, which is why all diaspora people don't have the same mentality. All diaspora people are not sitting here saying that anything under 18 might as well be 12. That's not how they look at it. That's not how they do it. And it just isn't. Now, y'all can still have your opinions on Glendon and what he did. I mean, people are leaving like, you got people literally leaving like 30 comments per person talking about you're disgusting, you're this. I call the FBI. Like, Glendon actually thinks this shit's funny, to be honest with you. You took that video down. No, he showed the post and YouTube removed it. That's another thing, JC. They have multiple wives. Some people would consider that immoral. Yeah, drama. I probably could do better with better production values. A lot of it is me being lazy. I mean, to be honest with you, I have stuff that I could put some really good shit together, and you'll be like, "Why didn't I do this before?" That is coming. even how I communicate is probably going to change because I need to kind of focus my mind to be more about doing uploads. That way I can just focus it video by video by video. You all will be able to absorb the content better, and this will be more of a traditional channel. So yeah, I mean, you got. Let me tell you how full of shit certain people are. You got actors like Scarlett Johansson. You got known actors that. Anyway, I ain't even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I'm not here to change people's minds in that way. I'm not here to say that tell you what morals you should have. That's not something that I even want to even get involved in. Yeah, pensive. Like I'm always gonna have that. That's not gonna go away. But the that stuff is gonna be kind of put more in the back for other content. So that gives those more value, and also because there's certain O'Shea's right. There's certain things that uploads can do that live streams can't, and there's certain things live streams can do that uploads can't. No, my listeners for the most part don't care about my production value, but I do want to attract a bigger audience. I mean, I might as well since I put this much time into this motherfucker anyway. So, you know. But it's especially going into the holiday season. It's been an interesting conversation. But all of these virtue signalers, these folks that want to call something the deviant sphere and all this bullshit, I'm gonna tell you something. I truly, it really makes me annoyed to no end that folks will attack a space they're supposedly a part of. I've never understood that. I believe in marijuana should be legal. I'm a supporter of legalizing marijuana for tax purposes, for medical purposes, for a lot of different reasons. Now, just because I don't smoke weed doesn't mean I don't support it being legal. As a black man, there's literally no reason why black men shouldn't want marijuana to be legal. Okay, Spurgo, that's your opinion. Go vote on it. It ain't even no point in debating you. I mean, most people do believe it's getting to the point where it's going to be legalized. Don't smoke government weed. Do I consider myself a libertarian? Yes and no. I'm not a pure libertarian. I wouldn't call myself like a pure libertarian, but I do have views that would be considered libertarian, yes. I don't bow to peer pressure, Smurgo. Somebody can say I'm scared all they want to. I mean, that don't mean nothing but a thing. I'm probably more people pull up to me all the time and try to debate me in fucking real time. They try to debate me off guard. And most of the time I'm up for it. Sometimes I'm not. Smargo, I come from the Coliseum, man, and I'm talking about the real Coliseum when Angry Man and all of them were in there. Smargo, you would get put in a chair real fucking quick. Smargo talk about Cardi B as attractive and Love Dorsey's attractive. I agree with that. I agree. Anybody that went down, we'll start off with possession. Anybody that went down for possession of marijuana should not be in jail. I do not want my tax dollars to fund giving people three squares and health care. They need to be out here being productive. And quite frankly, their record should be expunged. Anybody that says Cardi B is attractive, I question you. I would go on a Lil Peep network, and if y'all saw me on Shannon, that y'all should show that I could behave. But the thing about their network is their stuff is a certain format. Like their stuff is a certain format. And I will tell you this, I'm not going as a call in. I'm not doing that. I will not subject myself to that. But I'm no way near, like, I'd rather build my own shit. I didn't see it with the church piece. I just saw that one and that cassette shit. You already knew I had to go live. Well, it's not that. It's that black man, like a lot of that was Highlander syndrome. Yeah, what's up, Jay Lion?
Yo, what's up?
Not much, not much. Congrats for coming on. Yeah, so what are your thoughts?
Oh, I just tuned in or something like that. I just saw you popped up and I saw like the title, but then I went back. I think you were talking about the Lapeef.
Yeah, they were talking
Yeah.
about consent in a very general way, not really sex, but in a very general way. Like, when are you an adult? Should it be determined by age? Which I do agree with Anton that it should be, but they were bringing up some other stuff as well. About maturity and adult. Shout out to Dollar Watch for the $5. I think Edward is the best content creator. He's literally teaching marketing, economics, and culture while giving you a chance to state your case. I appreciate that, Dollar Watch. I think I can definitely do a lot better than what I'm doing. I think I have a ways to go. I don't talk about marketing economics enough. I have a ways to go to kind of rise to meet that standard, but I definitely appreciate that. I definitely do believe I have the potential to be one of the best. But I'm not gonna act like there's a lot of stuff I withhold as far as the marketing stuff. There's a lot of stuff I withhold. But yeah. So what? Yeah, because I mean, yeah. So what do you what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I haven't actually heard you talk. What are your thoughts about any of this stuff in the last like 10 days in general?
I don't know. It's been like it's like a bunch of mess. It seems like that you've been hearing like people been going crazy with this child predator. Each time they're talking about predators and all this type of stuff. I think I saw was it Abe and Preached, and I saw like Jessica X, all these people, Irina Vet, all these people making videos all over the place with this Glenn, we call it Glenn Cameron situation. Like people just went crazy with this stuff. Huh? I don't even know what he said. Like I just saw people just start making videos. Huh?
Well, to be fair, the stuff he said would warrant craziness. So he has it up on his Disruptive Mail channel, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna act like the stuff when you know black people enough to know if you heard what he said that they were gonna get triggered. And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
relitigate that, but so basically, yeah. Yeah, so I understand that. The issue that I have with what the people were doing was they were kind of making shit up. They were basically saying motherfuckers said they fucked a 15-year-old, which wasn't said in the video. And yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think too. Like as far as sex, I mean, content. I think it comes down to culture. So I think that because laws and wherever that's in laws and morality is two different things. So I think that whether the guy, I don't, like I said, I don't know Glenn and Cameron. I ain't really looked at a lot of his content or not, but
Yeah, most of this stuff is
whether,
business related, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if the woman, I mean, look, I look at it like this: if the person wasn't raped, then like I mean, I don't know if it
So let
was
me ask you
consistent.
this. Let me ask you this, because I want to ask you a question to kind of focus what you're saying. Um, so if you see, it's kind of, here's the issue. Like the issue, a lot of people. So yeah, it's I really don't want to relitigate it, really, because the thing about it is, yeah. But the thing about situations like that is you have all the stuff that's said about protecting black women, protecting girls. Motherfuckers talking about like 1 in 33% of black women are sexually assaulted. Let them tell it. Probably more than that. Let them tell it. They all been sexually assaulted. And then and it just my thing is, if you really want to solve it, is the backdrop of R. Kelly. Let's talk about that real quick, because that's something that you could probably talk on that of then. um what do you do? So I got a question. Do you think R. Kelly is going to get out of jail?
Hmm.
Like, let's say 10 years.
Who knows? I mean, like my thing is with the case. Like I haven't really looked at all the details of
Who
what was
has?
of the charges and stuff like that. So my thing is that if he my thing is that these women
R. Kelly's
willingly
54.
yeah did he what I mean, like, did he force these damn women to live with
No,
him and do all this type of stuff? Did he?
no.
That's what I'm
And
talking about. Some
and
of this
shout
stuff is
out to check out David Carroll's Rabbit Hole. Get in my Discord if you don't. Ask for the link, I'll get it to you, because I put him in there. He went through all of that, at least for what got him convicted. BGS says no. Go ahead.
that's what I'm talking about. If he didn't put a gun to these women, or basically, or he didn't just outright just go around just rape the women, then I feel like that these women made a damn choice. And I think that even of a 16-year-old, unless this chick was raped and this woman willingly knew the dude's age and went on with it and stuff like that, then I'm like, come on. I was like, I was like, and I think that looking at these women always always trying to act like they're victims and all this type of stuff. I mean, I'm not with all this, because some of them, yeah, if if the woman was a victim, that's another thing. But it's always a he said, she said type of thing. And basically, like, it's a culture where, especially here in America, people just cater, it just caters to women in the sense that, like, the woman is always the damn victim, but nobody says nothing about the little
Yeah.
black boys that been
Oh, well, black people
raped.
don't. Even black people don't care. Black people don't care. I
It's
mean,
no-
there was a and that's actually another thing. If I was gonna keep going with this shit, I had a couple of articles. I had like a Vice
Mhm.
article that was talking about OnlyFans, that like scrutiny with underage stuff. Because it's females that are actually getting on there on their own and getting money and lying or fake IDs and stuff. So now you're starting to do that on social media. Now you can obviously criticize OnlyFans for how stringent they are with actually monitoring that shit as far as the ID system. Because if they're lax on it, shit like that's gonna happen. I had a post on Facebook where this is a 2-year-old post, but it had over 35,000 shares. And
Mhm.
so yeah, and it literally, it was talking about, it was a woman talking about, sometimes basically saying women are pedophile or predators, and then kind of apologizing to black men as far as black boys need protection too. And then you had black men, I mean, up and down this motherfucker, just say, it's not the same. It's a badge of honor. I mean, over and over and over and over, and I actually lost it. I was
Yeah,
so pissed.
It's just a lot of bullshit. It's like you can't. I mean, I just like at a certain point, you really can't take the culture that serious. It's like you see so much of this BS. It's almost like it's kind of like it's like a damn joke. I mean, America is the culture here in America. It's like a laughing joke, man, to the world. And I'm like, and I'm thinking that you hear all these female teachers doing all this type of stuff, and you hear about dudes, oh yeah, my babysitter did this and do all this
And
type
the
of stuff.
thing is that really the women's fault if the dudes like have, because a lot of little Boosie Badass gets a lot of heat for saying shit that most motherfuckers actually think. Most people don't see it as the same way. I've had people rationalize it, and Alan Roger Curry talked about this as well, having like a young son and people that he knows, and the gift of age, where he said he knows people that's come up to him and say, I didn't think that was a big deal at the time. But, or even maybe when I was younger, but they were saying looking back, yeah, that definitely colored how they viewed women. And what people forget, and man, I don't give a fuck about R. Kelly. Let me be very clear. I haven't listened to R. Kelly for like 15, almost 15, 20 years. Where I'd say more closer to 15 or 16 years, because of that stuff. Unlike most people who do listen to R. Kelly and want to have it fucking both ways. But R. Kelly was abused, and people try to act like, well, that doesn't matter. It does matter, because if a lot of these folks that are doing this, if you can find that a lot of these guys that are doing this shit were either abused or they were, they had sex at a very early age, which colored their opinion of women. I mean, even if you want to stop, if you're serious about stopping this shit, you might want to fucking look at that. That's not to say you don't hold these people accountable for what they do, but you got to remember, black men are not the Catholic Church, where you have this incredibly old infrastructure, and then you have the power of religion that is so religion, bureaucracy that is protecting people. Black men don't have that kind of protection, like a priest.
No,
So
no, black men don't have.
if they don't get caught up, it's because the other party ain't really catching them up. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, black men are just like disposable, man. It's like in America, and yeah, and I think that basically it's the big boogeyman black dude. It goes all the way back to what do you call it? What's that film? What
Antoine
is that
Fisher.
film? Not Antoine. Even before then, what do
Birth
you
of a
call it? Birth of a
Nation.
Nation. Birth of a Nation. So, and basically, like and basically a lot of black women participate, even in that, like the big black dude, no, the bad black dude, they participate in white supremacy and all that bullshit too. So, and basically stereotyping black dudes, and basically they find out that black dudes spend the most time with their kids, and all this stereotype and all this type of stuff. So, and the thing is, they a lot of these Western black women, they they choose all the bad dude, all this stuff. They like the dysfunction. So they choose the
Yeah. Because they
you know
believe they can be saved. See, they believe they can jump in and out of it when it's convenient, and when they can't, that's where the complaints come out. But ultimately, and shout out to Pat, talking about black masculinity would not admit to an older woman statutory, raping them. Someone might. Well, the thing about it is now, see, if I wanted to play they're not developed bullshit, then I can argue they don't even understand. Because let's keep it real. Can you honestly tell me that a boy that's like 15 or 16 years old, I don't give a fuck if he's 6 foot, like Bronny James, can you honestly tell me that he's going to understand that how he's going to view women going forward will be irreparably fucked with because you dealt with a female that was 30 years old? See, I'm a short dude, so this ain't my battle to a certain extent. But y'all niggas that y'all got growth spurts early, y'all the ones that's really the ones that these motherfuckers are targeting, straight up. And half the time they be targeting y'all for kids. I know a dude that had 3 kids by he's 21 years old by 3 different women. And the youngest one was like 8 years older than him. The youngest woman was 8 years older than him. See, stuff like that doesn't get talked about.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, you're right. A lot of these women are I mean, that's another thing. It's like, they acting like they're victims, and a lot of these women are narcissistic. And they pray too, man. And it's like, this whole victim, Disney World shit, like all the women, like the women all night and playing these victims. I mean, that narrative has to go away, because they're not these little victims, and like what they try to pair to be. A lot of these women, I've heard like
dudes saying they busting holes in condoms and all this type of stuff. So it's like
Let's keep it
women.
all the way. Let's keep it all the way real. Unless you're the mother of the son, if you're it don't matter if you're fucking 12. If you're like 5'10" or 6 foot and that dick works, these women don't give a fuck. I've heard some of them women talk. Like you get to 13, like 14, they don't give a fuck. It's about how you physically look. You like they don't care, and then the dudes really don't care either, unless it's like a father, because they're gonna play. Ooh, look, man, you getting that shit, but you don't understand that that's how fuck boy. That's one of the ways a fuck boy is created. Because when you get sex that early, you only see women as sex objects for the most part, because literally the magic of a female has been wiped out, and they don't understand it. They don't get that. And what's called said the circle. It is. Oh yeah, Pastor and BGS can speak on that. Don't be good in basketball or football. No. And that's not the so you know, but and it's not about deflecting, but let's be straight up. This only goes one way. And even the dude, and this is one thing that's not, oh, well, it's the women's fault. No, the men. You fucked before you even say something about the women. If the men are gonna see it like that, because remember, Boosie talked that shit, but Boosie was also the dude again. Well, like I said, Boosie, he be represented. He had his son fuck a prostitute to verify he wasn't gay. That's not far off. That's not far off from how a lot of motherfuckers think. And the thing about it is, everybody will overwhelmingly side with you when it comes to these girls. But when you talk about the boys, all that morality shit, they're going to tell you, please. If I were to have this argument and we were talking about this argument from a male perspective, as far as the men being young, that morality bullshit that shit wouldn't have that shit would be diluted and chopped up like a motherfucker.
Yeah, it is a double standard, and yeah, and I think that yeah, I was like, these like, a lot of these young boys, yeah, a lot, yeah, like I said, a lot of these women are, they, they're they just as, some perverts, just as perverted as some of these, they so-called do, but but they can
Jay Lion,
get away with
when
it.
have you ever heard a female be called a pervert? Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard
Mm.
of a
No,
female be
I
referred?
never. Yeah, I never heard of it because it's like what Doctor was Doctor T Johnson, what was his name, Einstein, basically because
Yes,
it's
Johnny.
gender. Yeah, because that stuff is associated with being a male. Like the woman is like this little you know innocent, sweet angel, and all this type of stuff. It's not they so basically those things are only for like males because
Yeah, even white women fucking boys in school, they're not considered pervert. Yeah,
yeah
you'll
yeah
hear a white
yeah
bitch be called a nigger lover before she be called a pervert.
So I think that it's all like part of that inaccuracy stuff, and basically and I think that's what they did. They made they associated all this stuff with being a male, right? Um being a dude, all these different terms and stuff like that,
Have you ever
and I,
seen a female be called a predator? Other than like you hear, I mean, to a certain, you don't even really hear Brittany Renner be called that. But you know, these teachers, they literally get
um,
paid to fuck boys
yeah they do, and I
by
was
the
like
state.
yeah by mistake. I mean it's like like
And those are the ones that get caught.
yeah, it's like what was I think it was like I was hearing something on the Nas song. I was like I remember one of his albums, something he said about evil bitches, and I was like, yeah, man, these some of these chicks are some evil ass bitches, man, or something like that. It's chicks going around, putting spells and some of it, telling they said, abort black kids or black
Yeah.
boys or something, killing them and shit, and talking about all kind of wicked stuff, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't
Just
even get me
because you got
started.
some
Don't.
tits in the yeah, just because you got some titties in the vagina, don't make you some holy virgin. Don't make you.
Yeah.
They think because they can get a yeah.
And that shit don't even make sense because the reality is, in order to abort a black male kid, you still gotta let dudes nut in you. That's that
Yeah,
hate
that's what I'm
fucking
saying.
Obsidian's talking about. It's like, so you have so low sexual discipline and your options are so limited. Because trust me, if you're willing to abort black, first of all, there's a lot more black women to believe that than what people get to say, because you don't never see these chicks aborting mixed kids. I mean, I see fucking Eve's picture going around. And granted, she's been with that white dude for a minute. You know, that's the promised land. Anyway, Starscream says that Rudem said it was different for young black boys because they are physically stronger than a woman. The brainwashing is deep. It is, because then because even if I go with what Rudem is saying, then the development, the brain development shit is bullshit. That's bullshit. Then that can't apply. And so when Courtney said that, oh, it's about that's bullshit. I told you, that's some shit that's said. You know, the reality is that for men, they want to use the physical shit. And by the way, you notice how that shit is not really applied to non-black men. That's some shit that's only really applied to black men on that physical development shit. And again,
Mm-hmm.
you got dudes that care more about protecting their sexual access than protecting their mentality. See, and this is how dudes, like, a lot of men will, if you tell men you either got to sacrifice your humanity or sacrifice this BBC status, most dudes will say, I'm cool with shit the way it is.
Yeah, because a lot of these black dudes, man, they like bucks. It's like, it's almost in
Yep.
a sense they still operate, like they're on a plantation. And I think that, yeah, and I noticed that it's like the dudes act like, I don't know, man. It's like it's almost in a sense that's like, you know, everything is about like, vagina, 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 vagina. Like, oh, I go to sleep, I eat breath of vagina. I was like, damn, man, it's like you ready sacrifice your whole damn humanity just for one piece of
Yeah.
you emasculate yourself just for a damn vagina. I was like, damn,
He
these
said
motherfuckers.
black. He said black is their fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm like, some of these motherfuckers are just lost, man. I mean, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It's like,
Yeah, I believe there's a Jewish dude behind that site. They said, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it right. Eve is 42 years old, man. She said, I'm gonna have this white man, this billionaire baby. She put the time in though. She put the time in. Like, I guess he finally said, fuck it. I'm gonna codify it. You know, gonna have this as David Carroll said, gonna have this mongrel baby to solidify. He said, Freeman's gonna say, it. Yeah, man. Say, get this money. Snuggle says, do you think the genetic of people you were talking about are intelligent naturally, or were they bred to be the way they are? And can you judge from others across the globe? What? I don't understand what you're trying to ask me. You're saying, like, what people? Like, yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, I don't understand what you're asking me, and that's not a cop out. I don't. The owner of black is actually just. I told you, Smurgo. I didn't just pull that. I don't pull shit out of my ass, because if I don't know, I just don't have to say it.
yeah. And I think one thing I can give
That
credit
super
to is
thug.
like you and BGS and Dr. T, um, as far as you guys are critical thinkers. So I think that and even in manosphere, there's a lot of people lacking critical thinking skills.
Well, it's a lot of. It's not that people don't have the capacity. Yeah, people have different motivations. I mean, the thing, I was listening to Ramil, and out of respect for the fact that he put this video up on a Patreon, so y'all need to pay $5 to get it, or $10. He gave his opinions, on the Glenn and Cameron situation, but also like the manosphere. And one thing he did come back to is the virtue signaling. Right now, it's a couple of moving parts here. You have people that are different factions in the black manosphere, and they're trying to grow their faction. And I'm not saying that they are not sincere in their thoughts of Glenn and Cameron in that situation. They are. I believe they are. They believe what they're saying. But at the same time, they're trying to grow. They're trying to move. And that's cool. That's cool. Um but they are a faction, meaning they have a school of thought, and I don't agree with some of them I agree with more than others, but some of their school of thought tends to come certain things I don't agree with, like that fucking thug warrior class shit. I don't agree with. Especially in a capitalistic society where resources is really what counts. So you maintaining that warrior shit. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but that shit ain't gonna work because it's not. But whatever. But you have that. Then you have folks that they're not necessarily, and when I say grow, that's their, yeah, obviously you're on YouTube to grow. I'm not hating on that. Then you have people that want to virtue signal like a motherfucker. They wanna say that everybody should be like me. Now, a lot of times these people ain't nobody really listening to. So if they don't have an audience already, they'll either jump on other people's stuff to be heard, or they always are loud as all shit when they're like when you're talking to them. It's almost like they can't have a conversation at all, because they are too busy trying to fucking tell you. And yeah, I'm talking about the man pastor. They're too busy trying to tell you they're so right. Now, there's degrees to this, but it's like they can't see another perspective at all, but at all. And so you have different motivations for different reasons. I understand them. It is what it is. You got to kind of take the good with the bad. The manosphere is evolving, is growing. It's adding a lot more professionals. I mean, Pocket Watching with JT did a video apparently attacking Dr. Sebi. So, a lot of pro-blacks are not going to like that shit. And I'll even say this. Like, one thing we'll do just for the fun of it, since I'm kind of revisiting this conversation, is if you could rewind the clock, and then I could talk to Glennon directly, and he said this is what he's doing, and then I was in there brainstorming with what his goal was. Now, I want y'all to understand something. He got monetized in very fast, thanks to people driving traffic to his stuff, and then people subscribing. He gained like 800 subscribers in a week. So a lot of y'all helped him get monetized, and eventually all that predator shit is going to dissipate from the algorithm. That's the bet he's making. I think ultimately, he'll find his audience. Yeah, I mean that's what I mean, shit. I'm not. I'll show y'all. I ain't making that shit up. But if I was looking back, and again, Glennon Cameron has more money than me. He's a better marketer than me. He does things in a very practical way. I'm just giving y'all my opinions, and that's all that shit is. So is what I noticed. I noticed that these niggas that always want to pocket watch, they never pocket watch the bitches. All these scams, these hoes be pulling, and then that they don't find.
Yeah, you're right.
And these
about
hoes
that.
these hoes be pulling scams. Like there's an episode of American Man, black women be pulling scams because niggas don't be, man, she a woman, Anyway, Snuggle said all he asked was one question: where is the paperwork for the case? Supreme Court, would you think that it's a valid question? You can be substantiated. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a valid question, but from the pro-blacks, from the people that support Dr. Sebi, you gotta remember, Dr. Sebi, in a lot of people's minds, was killed, Snuggles. So they're not gonna give no kind of fucks about his validity. They're not gonna give a fuck about that. They're gonna be like, you attacking an elder. You fucking square ass nigga. That's how they gonna see it. Ask me how I know. You square ass nigga, you attacking an elder. And the reason why I brought this up is this, like, attacking a certain group is one way of growing. That's what Satan the Sinner did. That's exactly what Satan the Sinner did. He called out big names. He had enough of an audience that he can build it. I mean, Glennon could have did this. Glennon could have did all y'all motherfuckers are suckers. He could have started with Anton, to be honest with you. All y'all are suckers. Y'all ain't, I mean, he called people in the manosphere beta male cucks. Not everybody, but he said people that really talking shit about him. But he said, that's a beta male, that's a beta male. I got receipts, because he got the receipts to show his work. I got the receipts for the money, the check. He could have did all. He could have pulled the Satan the Center move. Do you remember what Satan the Center did when he was going after everybody and that kind of accumulated? Hold on. And the fact that they cannot comprehend he is asking a valid question. Do you think there's a lack of intelligence naturally, or people so man, Snuggles, you believe that? Let me be very clear here, Snuggles. Black people do not naturally have a lower IQ. That is a social construct. That's not a genetic construct. The reason why white people run shit now is for two reasons. Number one, they got the guns first. And number two, they're cunning. What does cunning mean? Cunning has nothing to do with intelligence. Cunning is not the capacity to do something, it's the willingness to do something. So I'll give you a perfect example. When you hear women use the words like finesse, that's stealing, cheating, and lying. In some cultures, that'll get your fucking head chopped off or get you killed. But in American culture, in this feminist like, I'll give you a perfect example. Shit, we'll go to the white man's dictionary. Let's go to the white man's dictionary, which is Google, because you know the white man knows everything. You're right. Trust me. You think go to Appalachia, you'll find out how genetic intelligence really is. See, some of y'all motherfuckers ain't never seen no ratty haired white bitch. Y'all ain't seen enough redneck. Y'all ain't seen enough fucking retarded white folks in your day. You used to watching these fucking Wall Street motherfuckers in the city and shit. Y'all,
Oh yeah,
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 you
you're right.
see some fucked up. And I'm not saying all
Yeah,
rednecks
it's
are
pretty
dumb.
effed up, man.
And I'm not saying all rural people are dumb, because they're not. There's plenty. I know plenty of rural people. They know guns and they know they work in IT. So let make no mistake. I'm not blanketing everybody, but I know some of you white people. White people can go through America without seeing a black person. Black people can't really go through America without seeing a white person. So when people ask questions, and I don't know the motivation behind your question, Snuggles, but when people ask questions like that, I'm like, y'all really be out here thinking that. But no, it's socialized. A lot of the bullshit we deal with is socialized, to answer your question directly. Cunning, having or showing skill in achieving one's ends by deceit and evasion. You see what I'm saying? Skill at exceeding one end through seek. So when I say white people are more cunning than black people, that's what I mean. They're not smarter, they're just more cunning. And I've said that before. And so black people tend to mistake cut. And see, this is why when motherfuckers talk about y'all need to stop talking about that morality shit, Glennon is actually a perfect test case for that. You know, y'all want to bring it about morality, and you see how he's kind of looking and laughing at y'all. And it's not that Glenn is not an immoral person. Glenn is probably more moral than most of y'all, to keep it all the way 100. You know what's crazy? Yeah, that 17-year-old he said he had sex with. He said he talked to her the other day. She's 36 right now. He just did a video today on that, talking about 36, married, and he asked her. He said, "Did I damage you?" This is what he said. You don't have to believe him. This is what he said. And she thought that he was gonna ask her because he said that he told her like what happened with YouTube. Said, I told her what happened. She said, "You fucking stupid." This is what he said. And then he said, "You're not asking me because I'm not coming up on that fucking YouTube. No. But did I damage you?" She said, "Oh no." Lion, ask me what age her husband is.
What age is?
Yeah, ayo, y'all in the chat, ask me what age that chick's husband is right now. Guess. I
What
wouldn't
chick
say
is that?
morality is useless, Black. I wouldn't go that far. Ask me. Like what like put in the chat, guess. Damn, Wally. Damn, Cash. Fuck. Yeah, 50 years. Y'all must have listened to the video. And Glennon's like 54. No, not older than Glendon, a couple of years younger. But anyway, that's another crazy thing. Glendon knows all these people still too. That's what's crazy about that shit. And folks don't believe that, but I believe that shit. He said somebody ran up on him a while ago, a long time ago, and that motherfucker didn't know he was 6 foot. And that dude was 5'7". But anyway,
Yeah.
please, man, please, y'all can believe that bullshit if you want to. Motherfuckers, hey, you in predator, blah, y'all can believe. But anyway, but what was I saying? Damn, I forgot what the fuck I was saying. But oh yeah, the cunning shit. Yeah, so that's what it is. And black people can't really square with that because they got an insecurity complex. So when people say,
Yeah, they
"Oh, they're
more.
more intelligent," no, they're just more cunning. They're willing to
Yeah, they
work
more.
on
Yeah, they are
morality.
more cunning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they
they're
are more
willing.
cunning.
Yeah, they won't allow morality to get in the way of their goals. Black people
Yeah,
have
yeah,
this
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they are, and they good at stealing shit too. So like,
Yeah.
you're yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of stuff they claimed that was original wasn't really there, so it really came from somewhere else, and they just improved on a lot of stuff. But that was it. That's basically what a lot of Europeans or white people in general. But yeah, I've met a lot of dumbass white people, man. So yeah, so I think that a lot of black people they haven't really been around white people like that. They haven't really they haven't seen these poor white people, some of the dumb shit they say. I was like, but like I think black people in America have been socialized to be dumbed down. You know what I'm saying?
No, no,
So I think,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
And the women assisting that shit. Like the fact, like like I'm gonna tell you something. As long as your girls are more educated than your boys, you're gonna live in a shithole. Black women, and you can believe that or not. That's up to you to deal with.
another thing, women say what they say. I'm a sapiosexual. That's a lot of bullshit. A lot of black women they don't like no intelligent black dudes, something like that. Because if he's
Oh
intelligent, you
yeah,
can't
there's a
control him.
difference between being able to speak to women from a sexual standpoint, like being able to understand how the strongest sexual organ is the human mind. I've actually gone to seminars about this shit. Like I've spent real money understanding shit like that, so I know more than most about like what you can do. But the
They don't
thing,
like no intelligent dudes, man. I mean,
nah,
they be
nah, they no, they don't. Black
they
women in
don't. They be
particular,
on some bullshit.
there's exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, that's not how black women are operating. You
Hell
again,
no.
some black females will look at the penis of a newborn baby. I've seen that shit. Like to see, look behind the ears to see if he gonna be light skinned or dark skinned. Like, and it's a lot of shit. So when people talk about women, please, women say shit. Most women say shit. I don't even take seriously what comes out of most women's mouth.
Yeah. It's a lot of just BS, man. It's like
Mm.
because one thing you can't control the dude, right? If a dude has some type of intelligence, you're not
Yeah,
gonna be
sex
able to
that sex
control
is
him.
not gonna work. Sex, and this is why a lot of the culture in a lot of our culture is gynocratic. Like dudes that sit here and give a fuck about you. Literally got dudes that are anti-economic because they want to believe they got this gold digger complex where they want to believe that a woman loves him for him. So niggas will literally self-sabotage themselves in order to keep being a broke nigga. And then the women, yeah, JC, I'm dead ass. And that's not the only thing they check. I'm very aware of the fuckery, which is why I bring up the light skin and dark skin shit, which is why I bring up the height. There's a reason why I bring up everything. It's not just because, I have my own complexes about shit. It's because these things are in the factors of how these people talk, and they assume you not gonna know. See, a big reason why we don't come to conclusions in the black community about certain things is because really what you have is women. What women want to do, they want to do the same thing as white people. They want you to accept that you're inferior to them, and then they can be nice to you about it. They don't want the women want you to accept this shit as it is and you contribute to it. This is why you have these conversations about being with a single mom. I explained to it on Shannon's shit, Shannon's stuff. I said, y'all got to understand because these are older women. I mean, they weren't old like that. Like Dana was like, what, like 44, 42. I'm like, y'all got to understand that when y'all grew up or when we grow up, like it's not the same. The way the stepdaddy market, the system is destroyed. And what women want is for dudes just to naturally fall into this dual mating strategy that women want to do. And then it's so bad when these women actually think, and BGS did a good job of talking about that welfare cliff, because I didn't consider that, but now that makes sense. You know, they wanna they want you to accept their bastard kid. I'm like, dudes will kind of accept a body count depending on the situation, but they're not gonna accept that. Not if they can do better. And this is
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the rug is. You're trying to convince men to get on your program rather than you acknowledging that what we say is valid and you adjusting. Anyway.
yeah, yeah. And I was thinking like, Pablo, Pablo, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's French
he had a
Kabar.
video. Yeah, 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 or something like that. I was on one of his videos and stuff, and he had this chick that looked like she was like 600 pounds, 500 pounds, or whatever it was. You asking all these for the demands. I was like, there is no woman in most cultures that wouldn't do that. No woman in the motherland, a woman in the Arab country or Asia would ever go out there, a woman like that, and ask for all these demands. Huh? She was demanding all this type of stuff, and I was like, man, that's some straight up just
Well, they wouldn't be allowed to
Adolf
get. They
Black
wouldn't be
American.
allowed to get to that weight. The women
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah, they
shame their
weren't allowed to
ass.
get the weight like that. You know what I'm saying? And she had demands. I was like, that's straight up this Black American woman. I was like, that's the only chick I can
Yeah.
see doing some shit like that.
Yeah,
Huh?
they be wilding out to a certain extent in Canada too. But the West, you're right. The West, and it's certain shit. And this is why I tell motherfuckers they want to talk about divestopia. I'm like, okay, well, this is why most dudes need to just stop arguing with these motherfuckers. Just tell them date out. Like black
Yeah,
men should encourage black women to date out. Let them know, look, okay, then put up a shut up, because we just give a fuck about fucking. That's why these women talk about, I'm gonna abort your baby. I'm like, okay. I mean, we didn't want to pay child support anyway. I mean, if we want to get a kid, trust me, we can get a kid. Even if you won't do it, we'll find a non-ADOS person that will. Shout out to Aisa. Um,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're right. And I think they act like they're
for the $5 cash app.
yeah, they act like too they're the only black women that exist on the whole entire planet. Huh?
Yeah, they and this is why if you really push the issue, this is why I talked about intercultural dating.
Yep, I
You know,
like you bring that up.
yeah, they want to a lot of dudes, if you push them on it, they will if you push them on it, they'll say, "Oh, well, it really needs to be an ADOS black woman," and they'll try to sell that. And I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
not
man.
here. Yeah, I'm not here to say to not choose an ADOS black woman, but black women have no incentive to change if you're always going to if you know you're always going to be there. What's the incentive they have to change?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of these guys that they are so caught up in that matriarchal thinking is so lost in it, and I think that yeah, they don't know how controlled they are, and I was like, yeah, but like people like Pablo, Axabar, people like me, like we ain't with none of that. So it's like they don't have that magic control. I mean, like your vagina, you don't got that magic vagina. Ain't we ain't we ain't caught by that damn spell like that. Shoot, no, it's
Well,
like
it's
no,
just it's just women. Even Mr. Research used to say that. I mean, women bleed every month. I mean, the thing about it is, it's like women need to talk to men like they're human beings, and men got to stop talking to women like they got to stop worshiping women through their fucking need thirst. A lot of that shit is thirst. It
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah, a
is.
lot of dirt and stuff like that. But then once you break through a lot of it, it's like it's like I don't, it's like the lack of femininity. I don't care how damn good you are, how big the behind is for me, but like that femininity is lacking. So like all that shit just I don't even give a hell about that. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are they're so caught up with big behind they can't see through all that BS. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they have no sexual discipline. Or they're kind of like they function on like they're kind of like I don't know. It's like a damn dog, like a wild like beasts or something like that. It's like it's almost like they're not even. I don't know. It's like they've been programmed. I don't know how can I say it. It's like it's like the Matrix, right? It's almost in a sense you got they've been in these like what do you call these programs, and they're just like programmed that way or something. It's weird. Huh?
Yeah, they call it a simulatum. Like a simulation is kind of like something you're plugged into. But like for instance, YouTube, like even the Black Manosphere could be like a simulatum. It's like a series of things. When you get on this space, you're plugging into something. Just like when you go to work, you're plugging into something. There's certain game rules and stuff like that. Versus when you leave work, you're leaving that. And so when you understand that, even when you get to different niches on YouTube, it's like different game rules and stuff like that. So, at the end, yeah, a simulacra. That's what it is. A simulacra. Shout out Should be a simulacra. Yeah, we go deep on this shit. But and then the way black men only and see, my thing is if you are at the bottom of something and you see that you're the only person that does something, you should take a look at that. And only black men look at tricking the way. First of all, nobody's talking about motherfuckers should pay for pussy. But this idea that you have this fear that you need a woman these women don't like you for you anyway. Because if you trust me, if you can't fuck, they don't give a fuck if you live or die. So, nigga, like, and y'all think that your ability to fuck a bitch is like that's like niggas say, yeah, man, I'm naturally talented at basketball, but that don't mean you don't have to practice. This idea that y'all just have this innate ability to fuck a bitch, I mean, how's that working out for you? Y'all niggas still wind up in child support court,
Yeah, man. A lot of these
other than
chicks.
Archer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, a lot of these chicks are contradictive, man. Contradictive because they smash a dude, on the damn floor with some damn pillows or something. Just they have just a pillow bed, and it'd be like the dude can be don't have nothing, and
Yeah, it's
basically
like an
and
air
also,
mattress. A lot of black women like that shit. They like that slum sex.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's to the point where if you're dealing with a lot of black chicks, if your house is too fucking clean, they don't like that shit. And I'm not the only one that knows that. I know some of y'all may be getting mad as fuck, but that's real. And that ain't just hood chicks. That is not just
Yeah,
hood
yeah,
bitches.
yeah, yeah, and you got those what you call the homosexuals, and
Yep.
but then like they say one thing like, oh, I was a hobo. It's like it's almost as extreme. Like, okay, I want to do the $100,000, but then at the same time, you see these chicks smashing, uh, going to into the hood and smashing these dudes. It's like you can't take them serious. I was like when dudes, they just even I mean, can they ask you that with this? Can you really do you really take these chicks really serious when you start seeing this stuff? It's like you
Well,
got a
not
lot of these
when you
dudes got to.
see it. I mean, the thing about it is, I don't look, man. I let somebody show me they ain't shit, but I don't need to somebody bite me in my ass. Like I look at the signs, and I don't. People always talk about, well, you ain't supposed to judge people, motherfucker. Patterns are patterns, and you like the reason why women don't like to be judged because they always like the opportunity to pull the bullshit on you. That they always want that reset. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't trust your senses. Just believe in the magic. And they hunt for niggas like that. They hunt for niggas like that. They hunt for niggas like I keep saying. Is um trust is the most valuable commodity amongst relationships, and I'm talking about even amongst human beings. And once trust is broken, that shit is not a renewable resource. And what a lot of women have done by them expressing their anger and their a lot of these women jump on black men because they hate being black. That's really what it
Mhm.
is. They hate being black. And so they project that shit onto what black men are quote unquote doing to them or not doing for them. It's really code for I hate being black. And when you understand that, you don't really take what they say as serious. This is why you can hear like no other bitch would be allowed to say abort black male babies. Nobody would say that. Like nobody would say that. Like you and then you got black men that actually, oh well, she just angry, she just frustrated. But these but ugh, don't get me started on that. But anyway, And women believe that you can just reset. Like, that's what you see a lot of them women or the people, they want to have a redo. Let's have a redo. I'm like, yo, dudes don't like, it's not about not, let's say we did have a redo. Let's say we did have a redo. What guarantees I have you just not going to do the same shit over and over again with the opportunity?
Yeah,
Well,
I
you know,
mean,
exactly. You're just supposed to go with it. That's the problem with a redo. There's no trust. You need trust for a redo.
you need
And
trust. Yep. And I agree with BGS says that the environment just don't support it. I mean, I don't see how it's gonna happen. I think it's too many damn generations, um, so deep in this stuff. I don't really see it. So it's like, you have to take out the um infinity stones or something like that and do a Thanos snap or something on the whole damn environment. So it's like,
which we can't do in the real world. And that's
that's
why
what I'm
people,
saying. So
and what usually people are doing is they just wait to see, they what they're waiting for is they think they can wait it out, and the shit's not getting better, it's getting worse. And this is why, if you look at what the suggestions are, the suggestion, the greatest power men have is the power of choice. So if they don't see men leaving, they're not going to believe they need to. Black women are going to have to believe that they're going to be left alone. That's the only way. And BGS has supported this by talking about how you got to break up with a black woman in order for them to actually be broken in. And even Danielle has said this, and I've heard a couple of women say this, to where black women are never going to take black men seriously until black men demonstrate they're going to leave. So when you're doing shit like talking about you're having, oh, well, I'm attracted to only black women, you're not really helping. You're not really helping. Because I'm going to tell you, women, even when you're in relationships, women, when they learn you, especially the way these women, when these women, the way they are wired, you got to manage these bitches. If these bitches get bored, like, structure is boring. And this is the problem. Dudes think you can alpha. Here's the problem. You can't go to a problematic female and then and become a perfect guy, and then she doesn't become problematic. She's problematic from the start. And see, a lot of dudes like to get on that hamster wheel when women say, well, I act the way I'm feminine toward this person. And no, it's a difference between you being feminine and you being sexually attracted and just throwing pussy at a nigga. Those are two completely different things. Because even when you throw pussy at a nigga, that is not necessarily, like, women will throw pussy at a nigga that they won't show their friends. Like, they may be sexually attracted, but if they're a professional and they go to like a corporate meet party with, they will never take that motherfucker at all. They'd be like, hell no, fuck no. In fact, a lot of women are embarrassed by their baby daddies. You know, they a lot of women, if you could Thanos snap and see every nigga they fucked, dudes will own the bitches they fuck, ugly or whatever. Women won't do that. So
yeah,
Snuggle says, "Isn't the nature of human woman to be naturally chaotic? Isn't that the realm of being emotionally based come from?" There's chaotic, yeah, that is true. But the thing about it is, that's why you look at the environment, because the environment is supposed to control that chick. The environment is supposed to socialize that female to listen to authority, because otherwise, the way you deal with that is with violence. And they don't want us just slapping the chaos out of bitches. So you're supposed to be socialized to act like an adult, because understand something, a woman may be chaotic, but a woman is a fucking adult too.
yeah, she's a dog.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
now
that.
I was
Yeah,
having
yeah, a woman's supposed to be more mature than a fucking, like, a boy. Go ahead.
yeah, I was talking to it was a sister, you know, in the motherland or something. She was like, America, they said, you guys allow the women with way too much damn freedom. Huh?
What they don't understand is the women are given freedom because that's class warfare. Women are given the rights that they're given as a way of sowing chaos and providing hoops that other men have to jump through and compete with. It's a way of controlling the men. That's what the women don't understand. So the women are given these artificial kind of trinkets and gifts, but usually they suffer in the long run. This is why you see marriage in the higher classes and stuff like that, versus in the middle class is being eviscerated. The women are just too fucking stupid to understand that, because women don't think long term. So they don't understand how that comes back and gets them when they need, because once the woman has no sexual marketplace value, now she has to lean on the totality of the things that she's built. When I say built, I mean networks, her relationships. This is why women always double back to their fucking kids. Like my mom's 60. For the most part, her main relationships, as far as of really tangible value, I'm talking about economic tangible value, are her 3 sons, mainly 2. And I only say that because my youngest brother is 25. You know, versus everybody else in the family. Well, she is an elder. The elders are gone. So you see what I'm saying? That's how that works. And women don't think about that shit, until it's too late. And then what they do is they just get quiet about it. Sungle says, given everything you said that a human woman is supposed to be, what have they shown you in society that you live in? I don't understand the question. You're saying, like, my thing is, the only thing I expect for a woman is to act like a fucking adult and do what's in her own best interest. Her own best interest should be calculated in the short term, the medium term, and long term. Not what women do is they only calculate the short term, maybe the medium term, but never the long term. Black women in particular, because you have to be socialized to do that. I don't actually expect that, but I don't expect a lot from women. Like I don't expect a lot from women. I mean, I just expect them to not be bitches unless warranted. That's really it. I don't expect really what is people in the manosphere really asking for? They're asking for a female that is cooperative. That's really it. But that's too hard for a female because, and this is why I say go date out, because go pull that shit on non-black men and see what happens.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
go do that. See how that works.
yeah. And I think that a lot of black dudes they don't know how much freedom, I mean, how much power they really have or stuff like that. And I think that they have more power than they think they do.
Well, they've given
But they
away their power. Black men have a
mm,
culture of believing that we need to tell mama, I love her, I love her, I love her, I love her, I love her over and over and over again. And this is why women always say your mama black, because they're invoking that. And these dumbasses fall for that shit every time because they already been socialized to basically, they've been socialized to declare their love, their undying love for black women. And it's not about hating black women, but when you do that, you can't hold them accountable. You just can't.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. But don't associate your mom with every other damn
Exactly. Which to
woman.
me, that's disrespectful to your mom. But
Yeah,
black men
that's
don't
what
see
I'm
that.
saying. So yeah. And I was like, how the hell you gonna associate? I mean, like, damn, you know what I'm saying? You're not effing your mama, so what the hell they gotta do anything? I was saying so, and I think that I don't know. It's almost. I feel like it's almost been like been programmed like that. I think BGS was saying something about that we call it the Amaham report. What's the name of it?
The Monahan report. Yeah, it
The
has been
Monahan report.
programmed. This is why women are always so, you hear words like grooming and shit. That shit is applied to women. That shit's not applied to men because women are very, very sensitive on that shit because they want to maintain control. And so shit like that, they understand is a threat to their control. Women want to be in the power of grooming people. This is why they try to make it sound like this is why they try to make it sound like, this is why they try to make the shit sound predatory and shit.
Yeah, like one case is that Brittany Renner thing. I was like, damn. I was like, this dude couldn't be that damn dumb. And I guess that was like an example where dudes they are so hypnotized by the damn vagina, like Doctor Strange, and put a damn spell on the nigga. It's like and I was like, damn, I know this dude seen on social media. He couldn't be that damn
Well,
um
then that's another thing is because he's young. You know, and you gotta understand, this is the crazy part. These chicks, these dudes look up to these females.
Mm.
That's what doesn't get said either. They actually very much so look like, you know, you don't think of it that way because we're the initial wave. But you gotta remember that dude is 21 years old. That dude was literally 11 years old in 2011. And then you understand that Brittany Renner is 6 years older than him. That means if Brittany Renner was like at her height, he would have been like, when she was like 22, he would have been like 16. You know, so these dudes, they look up to they look at these social media women as like authority figures. They look at these social media women like I would look at like a Melissa Ford.
Mm. Yeah, and I'm thinking like, but thing is like they want to be validated, and I was like, man, I was like, you know, at least a dude could have had like some protection. I would have been. I'm like, how the hell you gonna look up to a damn thought, man? You know, it's like, what the hell, man? It's like,
Like I said, they look at these thoughts.
it's like, he just should have just looked at her as a thought, and that's it, man. Just like, hey, just drop in and just smash and got the hell out of there. And I'm thinking like this dude was trying to get a full blown relationship with a damn thought
Yep.
like that.
Well,
I was
I
like,
mean, they
that's
look
like,
at him like Melissa Ford. It makes a lot more sense when you think of it that way, doesn't it?
yeah, I guess it could be, but I mean, she was a video. I mean, I still would have saw. I mean, like, I still wouldn't want to have a relationship with none of these damn
But
chicks.
then
You
you
know, it's
got to
like,
think these women, these dudes are teenagers,
yeah,
19.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
uh,
you're right.
so they because really the age difference, a dude should think is problematic too. And when I say problematic, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that you have to understand that you're dealing with a woman that is way more okay, you're dealing with a female that is more sexually experiencing you, but you're also dealing with a female that has been with better dudes than you. And when I say better dudes than you, what I'm particularly talking about is more social dudes with more social status. So there's nothing you're showing her. It's like you're her backup. You're her third string playing. You're not her second string. You're not her first string. Colin Kaepernick was like her first string. You're her like third string. And people read like you understand what has to happen in order for the third string quarterback to play. Shit, the
Hmm.
third string quarterback is lucky if they're holding the football for field goals. Takes a lot of trust. But see, that
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah, yeah,
dawn on him because he was his age.
yeah, yeah. And I noticed like some of these guys, in this industry, they just be like, it's be like, oh, it's my ex girl. These dudes are so excited just to get other dudes, ex chicks, and these chicks just be passed around in the industry. I was like, damn. I was like, man, you could just. I was like, I'd be thinking like, damn. Man, it's like, I don't know. It's like I said, it's like no critical thinking skills. Like I was like, okay, at least he could have strapped up. I was like, at
Oh
least he
no,
knew.
no, I clown. Yeah, Murray talk about that's why I never clown him. No, I clown him because regardless of what his age is, he fucking it's too much that was out there about her. He chose to say fuck all that shit. Yeah, I can say he's young, but we're not. I don't let the niggas get away with that shit either. Nigga, you are in. There's plenty other females, my nigga. This is why
Yeah, I mean,
going
even I mean,
overseas is important. He wouldn't if he would have been over if he would have had access if he would have saw what women around the world look like, even in DR, he wouldn't have been as impressed by Brittany Renner. That's the
no,
thing
no,
reason why I keep telling these niggas.
no, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. And I think even when I was 17 or 16 or whatever I was, I knew. No, I knew a hole when I was a hole or something. Even back then, I was like, something like that. And I was like, damn, man. It's like even back then, I had some type of damn sense. But I think he was just like, oh man, I want that ass. I want it so bad. I don't give a damn. She famous or whatever. And like I said, even him knowing about the whole child support thing, I was like, my thing is like, he at least could have strapped up. You know what I'm saying? So, my
Well,
thing,
yeah, because what it is these dudes, like only like black men fall in love with the fucking status of a female. Men are not supposed to be attracted to the status of a female.
yeah,
They're not. That's some
No, they
effeminate
don't.
shit. Women are supposed to be moved by status. Men are not supposed to be moved by status like that. And
Yeah, yeah,
this is
yeah. You're right. That's weird, man. That is weird. It's like, why are you being? It's like either the woman you gonna look good or whatever. Or some the woman look good, but she's attractive. I don't give a hell what the hell her status is. So I
yeah,
mean,
but niggas be like that's how niggas get caught up with the Kardashians. They really be, yeah, man, you know her, she a Kardashian. I'm like, because if you find better looking women, no, but I want that. Okay. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, and everybody, and like and everybody and ran through it, through that thing and stuff like that. So
that's
it's
why
like
they
the
like
vagina and stuff.
that's why they like dealing with black men, because black men, like I said, black men believe in that status shit.
Yeah, man. So man, oh man.
All right, I'm about to, wind this down. So you got any more final thoughts?
I mean, you know, you pretty much covered things and stuff like that. So like, you and
Yeah.
BGS, you and BGS is pretty thorough with your stuff, man. So it's like, as far as my favorite out of Black Manosphere or something like that. So
Niggas.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
just
wait,
keep on
wait.
doing your thing.
I appreciate it, man. They talk about legalization of prostitution. Then you gonna have the moral police jumping on that, but ain't nobody gonna give a fuck about that. But anyway, it's been great. Motherfuckers talk about I lost my mojo. Oh, nigga, you hiding. You do a live every day. I'm like, nigga, I need a break sometimes. And yeah, that was a good opportunity to have one. But make no mistake, I can work this damn microphone if I really want to. It's just shit. So anyway, I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna drop you down now. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah, peace
Have a
out.
good night.
hmm All right, man. So it's been a great stream. Came up here, talked a little shit. Like I said, shout out to Lil Peef Network. Um, you said don't force material. No, I don't need to force material. I got a whole list of topics to talk about. Most of the time when I talk to you all, is really free flow on what's on my mind. I really haven't really deployed like topics that I think about and shit like that. Appreciate that, pensive. Um, So y'all, like I said, man, y'all gonna start. I really need to put a better channel up for a variety of reasons. So because I really want to set stuff up to really go into 2022 very, very strong, very, 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 very strong. But once again, you all are great. I appreciate it. Appreciate the cash apps. Appreciate everything. And y'all have a good night. With that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.